I've been inspired a lot more than I thought I would be.
It was interesting to see both sides of the issue, talking to government officials and also talking to migrants.
Yeah, we just did so many things in 6 days that made the trip really worthwhile. And we were always busy and always doing something.
When we saw the wall, we thought that it looked like an internment camp. It was this large green wall, and it had like wires on the top so you couldn't cross over. And it was nice because there were murals on it to see like what was the journey like for migrants who had to cross. But there was also graffiti on it, and close by there was a school for little kids, and I just remember thinking, well, this is what these kids have to grow up with. Like every time they go out for recess, which is supposed to be a happy time, they see this fence and they think, well, what did we do that we're being kept out, or what did they do that makes them kept in?
You can't really truly understand it until you go to Mexico and talk to the migrants and see what they're like and what their life is like and what their struggles are, and just like see the humanity in them.
The story that stands out to me most was when we went on our desert walk. We worked with a group called the Samaritans, and we cleaned up the desert where areas the migrants had gone through, so all their water bottles were left there, their clothes were left there, even some teacups. And the most impacting thing for me about that is that I found an ID card of a woman named Isabel, and she was from Acapulco, Mexico. And it was mind-boggling because it gave me an image, it was her picture and all these facts about her to attach to all the statistics we were getting, all the stories.
Something that stood out to me was just how unjustly the migrants are treated, and how they're coming here just for a better life, to support their families, to escape the poor economy in Mexico, and yet they are so brutally treated here and have to endure so much and face so much injustice.
When we went to the center called Camin, which was a hospitality house, and they housed migrants who were about to cross the border or who just needed a place to stay. There I met this really interesting lady, and her name is Margarita, and this is going to be her third time crossing the border, and she'd been sent back twice before, and she left her 2 kids down in Oaxaca in Mexico, but she knew she had to come back. The woman told me this story about when she had her hearing in front of the judge, and she told me that her hands were handcuffed and she had a chain around her waist and around her feet also. And just imagining that and picturing it, I had a hard time believing her at first because that just seemed really extreme. But then 2 days later we went to see Operation Streamline.
It's a program that's set up in 5 border cities, like along Texas and Arizona areas. And so these people are detained at Border Patrol, and then they are taken to the courthouse en masse.
And 70 people can be seen a day per judge.
They have to hit the quota of 70.
Like when you're a first-time offender, you're going to be charged with a misdemeanor, and then you're going to be sent back. But if you come back again, you're going to be charged with a felony. It's just trying to get people through as quickly and as fast as possible.
All 70 people were chained like that, and it was just mind-blowing. And hearing their chains rattle, it was just a constant jingle of their chains.
It's just the image of this small woman in chains around her waist and her ankles and her wrists, and just how helpless and harmless she was, and just, I don't want to forget that because I know that that will keep the passion in my heart for these people.
The whole operation is just really lacks any human dignity and ignores their rights. They ask them, how do you plead? And they always say culpable, and it's always culpable, and all the answers are sí. Like, no one answers anything else. While we were sitting there were these 3 daughters sitting in the bench behind me, and their dad was actually on trial, and so when he was being brought out, he looked at them and tried to wave, and that was also really intense for all of us, just being there and watching a family be destroyed.
It was heartbreaking. I wanted to cry so much, but I was like, well, that's not what they'd want to see. Even if you're looking directly at the judge, which I tried to do so I wouldn't break down completely, you'd still hear the jingles. And also when they'd walk by, I'd try and make eye contact with them, and once I did, I didn't know what to do. Like, I didn't know if I could smile because then maybe they'd think the wrong thing about me, but I couldn't look at them with sad eyes, because then it makes them feel like there's no hope. So this one guy, one of the last people that I saw, I just gave him a nod of like, I understand what's going on, and thank you for letting me see. So.